Shavua Tov, a gute Woche. I want to tell story number 161 of the Shivchei of Shem Tov, the oldest source of Baal Shem Tov stories ever published. Tonight's story is about one of the Hasidim of the Baal Shem Tov in his own right, Tzaddik, Rabbi Yechiel of Kovle. We've been telling stories about him the last few weeks. And so says the author of the Shivchei of Shem Tov, Od Maise Achas, another story that we're going to tell about the detailed and strict observance of Rabbi Yechiel of Kovle, who made a gezeira. He made a decree that the people of all the villages around his city, the city of Kovle, should be in the city for the Yom Tov of Pesach. Also, he established that two Talmidei Chachamim should go from home to home supervising the agalas hakeilim. Hagala is when they dip the utensils, the metal glass utensils they're going to use for Pesach, to make them kosher for Pesach, being that there are many details in Jewish law, and people from the villages may not be well learned, or rather, poor and ignorant people. He had two mashgichim, two people supervising that this should be done properly, as well as the baking of the matzah, which back then we didn't go to a place where it's already made for us. People did their own, bake their own, so he had this mashgichim supervise and make sure that it's done in accordance to halacha, to Jewish law. In one of the towns, there was a Muchsan. I mentioned Muchsan in the title. These Jews who were employed by the local noblemen, and they were in charge of the local taxes and the rental charges, and they usually were in a upper middle class condition. So this Muchsan was a melumdam. He was a well-learned man, and therefore he thought that if the Rav is telling that these people should be in town and he needs to have them supervised when they do the things, it doesn't apply to him because he's already a well-learned man. He knows the halacha, the Jewish law, so he doesn't need to do it. What he didn't think, this is my view on the story, the cheshbon, the calculation he didn't make, is that being that he was known to be a well-learned man, he didn't think that he's an example for the others. And if he doesn't go to the Rav, he's like telling others not to go. And so a number of things happen for not listening to the tzaddik. So he didn't pay attention. He thought it doesn't apply to him, and he didn't go to the town for Pesach. He stayed where he was in his village. Neither did his shenker, his liquor maker. During Chol HaMoed, the Muchsan indeed came to the city, and the Rav called for him. And when he came to the Rav, Rabbi Yechiel said to him, "Since you were not in the city during the first 2 days of Pesach, you will be here during the last days of Yom Tov." Indeed, the Muchsan came back home and found that his wife had passed away. First thing that happens. So he brought her for burial the last day of Pesach, the day of Chol HaMoed, the 6th day of Pesach, and the kavura, the burial, prolonged until nightfall. So he was forced to stay in town for the last 2 days of Yom Tov, of Pesach. And also, his shenker, his liquor maker, passed away during Kiddush, the first day of Yom Tov. So, two big things happened to him, two big losses, out of not listening to the Rav. This is almost like a Mussar story, like a moral given story. Not thinking what was happening by his not listening to the Rav and just thinking on his own cheshbonos, on his own calculations. Quite a strong story. I am translating all the stories of the Shivchei of Shem Tov one by one with the hopes to finish within the next few months the entire book and publish it in Spanish for the first time, as well as I'm telling the stories here in the channel in English and in Spanish, 2 parallel videos every Motzei Shabbos. So please give me a like, come, subscribe, tell your friends. This is what I'm translating, and I appreciate contributions for that end, see links below. I dedicate tonight's story to my great-grandmother, Henye Bas Rav Moshever Cohen Crystal, whose Yortzeit is tonight, and all the stories of the Baal Shem Tov and all the tzaddikim which I'm telling, for Hashem to protect and bless all the Jews in these days of challenge. Shavua Tov, a gute Woche, blessings to everyone in this just past Rosh Hashanah of Chassidus and these upcoming days of Hanukkah.